Okay, so we are continuing with Mother's Day. So far I saw that uh, actually here we completed up to page number 43, okay, page number 43. And let me tell you that so far what happened, that Mrs. Pearson, the mother told actually her son and daughter that if they expect that she would be waiting at their foot, means she would be waiting at their foot and hands and foot, means she would be ready to serve them every time, then they would be in they would be in disappointment, because their mother made it clear that as son and daughter was demanding that they had been working 8 hours a day, so 40 hours per week. Mother told it was probably it was different earlier, but now it's all same. And then mother also told that actually I'm looking for going somewhere in that weekend. And at this the daughter Doris was very much surprised, very much surprised. At the same time she was actually aghast. She was afraid that if mother would go somewhere in the weekend, then everything she will have to do everything, and that is why a mother actually she was afraid that where mother was going, and she asked mother that actually where you are going for, or where we are going, with whom you are going. Now Mrs. Pearson told that I must go there because I have been stuck here days after days, so I need the change. If I don't need the change, who needs it? Who need it? At this Doris. So we are starting from page number 43, the speech of Doris here. Just open at page number 43 and you will get where I am starting from. Now Doris, but where would you go and who would you go with? As mother told that she wanted to go somewhere in the weekend. So the daughter was asking that where would you go, and where would you go, and with whom you want to go? Now at this mother, that's my business. You don't ask me where you should go and who you should go with, do you? Mother told, but that's my business. Why I should tell that where I'm going and with whom I should go? Do you tell me where you go and where you go, with whom you go? Do you tell me? So why I should tell you that with whom I should go and where I should go? Doris, that's different. The daughter told, that's different. Now Pearson, the only difference is that I am a lot older and better able to look after myself. So it's you who should do the asking. The mother told, no, the only difference is that I am a lot older and I'm capable enough to look after myself. So if somebody is to be asked that where you are going, it's you. You should be asked about where you are going or with whom you are going. Now Doris, did you fall or hit yourself with something? Did you fall or hit yourself with something? Actually, the daughter always had that idea in her mind, that she thought that actually the mother had got some injury in her brain, and that is the reason that mother's behavior had changed totally. She had already discussed it with her, with her brother as well. But now, with her brother, okay. And now, actually, she asked this directly to her mother, that did you fall or hit yourself with something? Now, mother, coldly, no. But I will hit you with something, girl, if you don't stop asking silly questions. But being angry, the mother told that, the mother told that I will hit you with something if you ask this silly question. Yes, it seems very silly, isn't it? Because actually the girl had enough doubt in her mind, and she thought that mother got an injury in her brain, and that makes all the difference. And the daughter asked this, and this is the reaction of the mother. that when actually the mother told that no, I did not fall anywhere, and if you ask such silly question, then I will hit you with something. If you don't stop asking silly questions. Now Doris stares at her open mouth, ready to cry. Now actually, now Doris, why Doris was so much surprised? Because in her 21 years age, in early 20s, or 20, 21, 22 years age, she had not experienced her mother to behave such a way, and that is why she had been so much surprised. And now as the mother told that no, if you ask such question, then I will, if you ask such silly questions, then I will hit you with something. And this Doris now was preparing to cry, opened her mouth and about to cry. And Doris about to cry. Now Doris, oh, this is awful. She begins to cry, not passionately, yes, actually, and Doris told, oh, this is awful, and she begins to cry, not passionately. Not passionately means as if actually the crying is not coming from the core of her heart, it's not that she had been so much unhappy and that's why she started to cry, but still she started to cry. And now mother told, stop blubbering. Blubbering means crying here coldly. The mother is not getting agitated. She remained very cold and calm, and she told, stop blubbering. You are not a baby. If you are old enough to go out with Charlie Spence, you are old enough to behave properly. Now stop it. Now mother told again that you are not, you are not a baby. If you are old enough to go out with Charlie Spence, don't forget Charlie Spence is her boyfriend. So if you are old enough to go out with Charlie Spence, then you are old enough to behave properly. Stop this, stop blabbering, stop crying. Then this point, George Pearson entered, slept. George Pearson, Doris's father, here Mr. Pearson, husband of Mrs. Annie Pearson, he entered. This is the fourth member of the family, mother, daughter, son. We have seen this is the first time George Pearson, this character had been introduced here. He is about 50, fundamentally decent but solemn, self-important, pompous. Here self-important, pompous, same thing, are nearly having same meaning, means a person who gives lots of importance to himself, and solemn means he is serious type person. He is not a funny character. He always is serious and he always wants to give importance to himself, Now, and he is about 50. Preferably he should be a heavy, slow moving type, and this is instruction from the playwright that whoever would play the role of Mr. George Pearson, he should be heavy and he should be a slow moving type of character. Now he notices Doris's tears, and whenever he entered, Doris was crying, so he noticed Doris, his daughter, was crying. Now George, hello, what's this? Can't be anything to cry about. Now the father asked these to his daughter, that actually the father did not ask the reason why you are crying, but father told that no, there must not be any reason for your crying. Now Doris, through sobs, you will see, through sobs means she had been crying, and in the midst of her crying she told, you will see. Now Doris runs out, clapped with a sob or two on the way, and Doris had gone from that room, and she was still crying. George stares after her a moment and then looks at Mrs. Pearson. George stares means looked fixedly. Now George looked towards the door with which Doris had gone out, and then he looked towards his wife. Now George, did she say you will see? Now George actually heard what Doris had told, but still to be confirmed, he asked this question to his wife. Did she say you will see? Now Mrs. Pearson, yes. Now George, what did she mean? Now George actually asked these to his wife. Now Pearson, better ask her. Yes. Now, Doris had been surprised at the behavior of her mother. Cyril had been surprised at the behavior of his mother. Now it's time to George to be surprised at the behavior of his wife, because they could not find what has happened to their to their soft-spoken, gentle, kind-hearted, humble mother. That mother had just become the opposite. Mother become so rampant up, so irritating that mother became so bold. The mother was so meek and timid, but this mother was so bold. They could not understand. But we, being the readers, we understand what had happened in between. We know that Mrs. Pearson and Mrs. Fitzgerald, they had interchanged their personality, and actually, though Doris and Cyril, they are looking that it's their mother, and actually George Pearson also found that it's his wife, but we know it's not their real mother or wife. It's actually Mrs. Fitzgerald, and Mrs. Fitzgerald was a bold woman, and that is why they had been so much surprised. So when actually wife told, better ask her. Now George looked slowly again at the door and at Mrs. Pearson. George looked slowly again to the door, and then he looked at his wife. Then he notices the stout that Mrs. Pearson raises to another sip. His eyes almost bulge. Means actually we know that beforehand the wife was drinking wine, stout, her drinks, wine. And George now noticed that his wife was drinking, and as if whenever he saw that his wife was drinking, his eyes, as if it has come out, eyes become blurred. And we cannot blame George. If a person getting home, if he finds that his wife is drinking sitting at home, then that person, I feel every person must be surprised. Here George also got very much surprised to see his wife drinking. Now George, stout. Pearson, yes. Now George, amazed, surprised. What are you drinking stout for? No, the husband is asking to the wife. What for means why. So why are you drinking stout? Pearson, I fancied some, because I fancied some. Fancied means I imagined, I wanted to have some. George, at this time of day, don't forget this is afternoon, late afternoon. So at this time of day. Now Pearson, his wife, yes, what's wrong with it at this time of day? Now the wife is telling, what's wrong? If I drink stout at this time of day, it was late afternoon, so what's the problem if I drink stout here, or stout now? Now George, bewildered, means extremely surprised. Nothing. I suppose but I have never seen you do it before. Actually, the husband was telling, yes, nothing. Annie was a name, Annie Pearson. So the husband was calling Annie. Actually, I haven't seen you before drinking stout. Now wife, well, you are seeing me now. The wife, she was straight cut. So, wife did not have any apologetic attitude. When the wife also found that that her husband became so much surprised seeing her drinking stout, and the wife should have go for forgiveness, should have asked for forgiveness, or should have shown the apologetic attitude towards her husband. But the wife didn't do anything, and the wife told, well, you are saying me now, and that made George more confused, and the husband was telling. With heavy distaste. Distaste means getting dissatisfied, annoyed. Okay, yes, and I don't like it. Now the husband told this to his wife. I don't like that you are drinking stout here. I don't like it. It doesn't look right. I'm surprised at you, the husband told. The husband is getting angry. At the description of him, it has been given that he is solemn, means he is very serious. He is not a funny character. So now he became more serious, and the husband is telling to wife that I don't like it. You are drinking stout right now. I don't like it. I'm surprised at you, and told that I'm pretty much surprised to seeing you drinking stout. Now wife, well, that ought to be a nice change for you. Now the wife, without showing any attitude of apology, asking for forgiveness, and nothing. The wife thought, oh, that ought to be a nice change for you, that you are getting surprised. That's good for you, that it's a nice change. Now, George, what do you mean? The husband is getting so much serious, and the husband being serious, the husband is asking, what do you mean? What do you want to mean by this? Now, the wife, it must be some time since you were surprised at me, George. The wife is telling, oh, but long days ago, you were surprised at me. So it's good that again you have been surprised at me. Now, George, I don't like surprises. I'm all for a steady going on. You ought to know that by this time. And the husband told that by this time means we have been married for so many years. So you should know my habits, that I don't like surprises. I always want a steady steady and smooth going of life. I don't want to be surprised. You should know that. By the way, I forget to tell you this morning, I didn't want any tea. Special snooker match tonight at the club tonight, and a bit of supper going on. So no tea. Now the husband told, okay, by the way, I have forgotten this morning to tell that this time I don't want to take any tea, because this was the custom in Pearson's family, that whenever son, daughter, husband would come, immediately Mrs. Pearson provides tea to them. So actually George expected that as I have come, my wife was about to give tea to me, and that's why he told that by the way, this morning I have forgotten to tell you that this time I don't want to take any tea, because at my club today there is a special night, a snooker match will be played, and after that match there will be a dinner, so I don't want to take any tea right now. Now, at this wife told, that's all right, there isn't any. The wife told, okay, no problem, that's all right. There isn't any means I have not prepared tea for you. So here also the custom has also already been broken. Now George, astonished means he was extremely surprised. You mean you didn't get any ready? The husband is telling to the wife. You mean that you have not prepared tea for me? Yes, and a good thing too. As it's turned out, the wife told, yes, I have not prepared any tea for you, and ultimately it's a good thing as it has turned out. You told that you don't require any tea, and I have not prepared it for you. It's a good thing that I have not made tea for you. Now George, aggravated. Aggravated means getting so much aggressive in our mood. That's a very well, but suppose I wanted some. No, the husband told, okay, that's good that you are telling, okay, I don't want tea and you have not prepared, but suppose I wanted some, I had wanted some tea, and what you do? Pearson, my goodness. Listen to the man. Annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. He ever tried that at the club? And the wife told, oh, see, listen to this man. You yourself told that you don't want tea and you are getting angry. Why I have not done it for you? I have not prepared it for you. Have you ever tried this in the club? Now, the wife was telling to the husband, have you ever tried at your club? No, the husband actually could not understand what the wife wants to mean. Tried what at the club? The husband asked this to his wife. What do you mean? Tried what at the club? Now, Pearson, going up to the bar and telling them you don't want a glass of beer, but you are annoyed because they have not already poured it out. The wife told, just do the same thing as here. You are annoyed because you don't want tea, but you are annoyed why I have not prepared it for you. So do the same thing. You just go to your club, just go to the bar in your club, and told them that you don't want to take a glass of beer, but at the same time you must be annoyed with them that why they have not poured it out for him. Try that on them and see what you get. The wife is telling, go there. Go to actually behave the same way as you are behaving with me. Try that there. Try it there at your club, at the bar of your club, and see how they would behave with you. George, I don't know what you are talking about, George. He was annoyed, he was surprised, he was angry with his wife and what wife was telling, because this is the first time after his marriage. So many years they had been married, and after this marriage, probably for the first time, he experienced that wife was behaving in such a way. And that is the reason that the husband told that I don't know what you are talking about. I can't understand what you are talking about. Now, wife is telling, they would laugh at you even more than they do now. The wife told, go. If you do the same thing at the club, they would laugh at you even more than they do now. Means at present, other people at the club, they laugh at actually Mr. George Pearson, that the wife wanted to tell this, and told this also to to her husband that if you do the same thing at the bar in your club, then they would laugh at you more than they do now. Now George, indignantly means losing his patience. Now George is getting impatience. Laugh at me? They don't laugh at me. Actually, George told, no, laugh at me. They means the people at the club. They don't laugh at me. George told this to his wife. Now wife, of course they do. You ought to have found out by this time. Anybody else would have done. The wife told, you should find out by this time. You know, if anybody was there in your place, then that person must have found it by this time, that the other people, they laugh at you in the club. You are one of their standing jokes, famous. They call you Pompey Pearson because they think you are so slow and pompous. Now the wife told this to the husband, that you don't know that at the club they call you Pompey Pearson. You are a standing joke for them. They make fun of you. They had given a name for you, that is Pompey Pearson, because they think you are slow and pompous. Pompous means you give lots of importance to you. You know, you think that you are very superior to others and you are very slow. So because of this, they call you Pompey Pearson. Now George, horrified, never. You know, a person who thinks that he is superior to others, and if a person actually hears this, that actually other people call him in different name, other people make fun of him, it's really a great setback for that person, and that has happened to George. Now I have a question, you should ask the question to me, that how could actually that Mrs. Fitzgerald, because though it is Pearson, but we know it's Mrs. Fitzgerald, so how could Mrs. Fitzgerald know that at the club the people call Pompey Pearson to George? The answer should be, we know that Mrs. Fitzgerald really, she drinks, and she actually frequently goes to the club. Might have probably she had gone to club also earlier for frequent time, and she had learned there, she had actually heard that other people in the club, they call Pompey Pearson to Mr. George. Who knows that Mrs. Actually Fitzgerald, Mrs. Fitzgerald also was one of them who called George Pompey Pearson. There is no guarantee. Probably she was one of them who called Pompey Pearson to George in the club. So that is why actually Mrs. Fitzgerald was so much sure that other people in the club, they make fun of George. They had given him a different name and they called Pompey Pearson to him. But George actually was not ready in any way to listen it. Actually it seems to him as a bolt from the blue. Bolt from the blue means, it's an idiom. It means that you heard a news which is a sane person, you did not expect this news. So here also actually it probably is something like bolt from the blue to George Pearson, who gives lots of importance to himself. But whenever he heard that, as his wife was telling, that the other people call him Pompey Pearson, they had given a name, they make fun of him. It's really a great setback for Mr. Fitzgerald. Now Pearson, it's always beaten me why you should want to spend so much time at a place where they are always laughing at you behind your back and calling your names, leaving your wife at home night after night instead of going out with her, who doesn't make you look a fool. Now George, actually the wife told that it's beaten me means I got surprised. I couldn't understand that why night after night you go to spend your time in the club where all the people make fun of you, they call you a different name, but still you go there, and leaving your wife who had lots of regard for you, who doesn't feel that you were a fool. So you do not take your wife out for going here and there, but you spend the time in the club where other people call you a different name and they make fun of you. I can't understand why do you do that. Now in that point, Cyril enters, right, Cyril the son, with a glass of milk in one hand and a thick slice of cake in the other. George, almost dazed, turns to him appealingly. Now we know that Cyril told earlier her mother that as you are not giving food to me, so I should actually prepare it, or I should arrange it for myself and all this. So Cyril had gone to the kitchen for taking food, and He was coming with a glass of milk and a thick slice of cake in one in other hand. And whenever Cyril came, actually George Pearson looked at him appealingly, because it's a matter of prestige. What wife had told George Pearson that other people call you Pompey Pearson, they make fun of you. Actually, Pearson need to prove it false, and that's why he needed the help of the son Cyril. And now he looked at appealingly, George, here Cyril, you have been with me to the club once or twice. They don't laugh at me and call me Pompey Pearson, do they? Now the father, being agitated, asks this to his son, that Cyril, you have been once or twice with me to the club, so you should know that do the people at the club, do they laugh at me, or do they call me Pompey Pearson? You tell me, do they really? Now Cyril, embarrassed, hesitates. Cyril was in a tough condition. He was very much embarrassed. He was very much in a confusing state, and angrily, go on, tell me, do they? Now George told again, go on Cyril, tell me, do they means the other people at the club, do they call me Pompey Pearson, do they laugh at me, do they make fun of me, just tell me. Now Cyril, embarrassed, well, yes, Dad, I'm afraid they do. No, the son didn't lie, but the son was in a confusing state that what his father wanted to know is absolutely correct. And Cyril told, yes, Dad, what should I say? I'm afraid they do, yes. So it has been confirmed, that the people at the club, they actually call Pearson to them. Okay, now George slowly looks from one to the other, staggered. Staggered means as if he had been stabbed. A great hurt. It's a great setback to him whenever his son had, whenever his son has confirmed the fact that yes, other people at the club, they call him Pompey Pearson, and they call him a different name. Now George, slowly, well, I will be damned. Damned means I am finished. I am finished. We should understand that why George is taking it so seriously, because he is that category of person who gives lots of importance to him, and really who thinks that I am superior to others. That person suddenly thinks that yes, other people call him a different name, other people make fun of him. That really a great setback for him, and he was very much morbid. He was shocked at this, and he told, yes, I will be damned, means I am finished at this. So George exits left. George went from there slowly, almost as if somebody had hit him over his head, and from his appearance it looked that he was so much shocked, that as if somebody had hit him. Cyril, after watching him, turns indignantly to Mrs. Pearson, and Cyril looked his father to go out of this the room, and he just looked at his mother, Mrs. Pearson. So it's time up today. Up to this, I feel you have understood so far. If you have any question, you should ask me. Otherwise, again, we will continue in our next class. Okay, next class. So okay, thank you, and thank you everyone for joining my class.